There are people naturally immune to being dragged into the narcissistic illusion. They never become an integral part of any narcissistic system. They are more like a fifth wheel, and they know it, deep inside, from a very young age. But this truth is terrifying because it means falling out of society, abandonment and rejection, and so it is usually denied for the sake of survival. Staying in the system is exhausting, a never-ending effort. They often end up excelling in it only because they work so hard to keep themselves busy, never having time to notice that they simply don't fit in. They don't feel the rules because they have no affinity for drama, chaos, or conflict. They learn to play by these rules because they must, but inside, they feel they are betraying themselves. It is simply not their nature. That is their curse in the narcissistic reality, until they admit to themselves that they do not belong there at all. The truth is, they will never truly assimilate, because they are mutually exclusive with narcissistic people and the narcissistic world. There is no middle ground. If they stay, they will be painted, and over time redefined, as narcissists themselves, pushed into pleasing roles, driven into self-sabotage, used as emotional dumping grounds, or even covertly self-erased by the system's constant weight. From a very young age, people like this are punished, overtly or covertly, when they simply exist as themselves. They are wrapped in Darvo, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender, until they learn that speaking up or influencing reality is dangerous unless it serves the narcissistic script. Even harmless jokes, ideas, or actions are met with coldness or hostility until they drop their own truth and start supporting the narcissistic voices around them. The moment they do that, they feel internally violated, psychologically and emotionally stripped. But they win the temporary approval of others. This dynamic carries the vibration of schmexual mistreatment, except it is not physical. It feels like paying with your own self for the right to be allowed to live. The only escape is self-excommunication. Not reforming the system. Not hoping it will change. Not saving others from it. Hope and faith in people and in the world are traps, they belong to the narcissistic script. They keep you invested in systems designed to scapegoat you eventually. Every collective, every group, everywhere, runs on sacrificial systems that cleanse themselves by dumping dirt, burdens, and sins onto the innocent, then excommunicating them. If you excommunicate yourself first, you avoid becoming that sacrificial lamb. You can still interact on a surface level. You can still enjoy the facades, the aesthetics, the passing pleasures of the narcissistic world. But never again trade your wings, your vision, your awakened state for belonging in its sacrificial games. To truly understand why detachment is necessary, we must first recognize the nature of the systems we live within. Losing hope in people, in social systems, and in the narcissistic systems of patriarchy is crucial. Patriarchy is not accidental, it is a narcissistic system engineered by design, implemented through carefully planted beliefs in everyone from birth. It creates a fractal. At the top is the patriarch, originally, and in all global and large-scale systems, a man, who has an entire group of influence beneath him. This is the original design. The same structure repeats globally in all large systems, but it is also present everywhere on every scale, in countless smaller narcissistic fractals and dynamics that follow the same patterns. The main figure will not always be a man, it can also be a woman, especially at lower levels of society where men often act as mere puppets of the patriarchs above them. However, men remain the central figures at the most powerful, highest levels of the main fractal. The ruling class of state leaders, religious authorities, media moguls, political elites, major corporations, and all professions that wield real social engineering power. These domains, government, organized religion, mainstream media, large-scale politics, finance, and influential cultural institutions, form the backbone of the global narcissistic system, dominated predominantly by men. At the lower scales of this fractal lie institutions and groups where women often hold influential roles. These women may exercise power within communities, workplaces, families, and social groups, frequently surrounding and influencing men who function as puppets within the system. This dynamic paradoxically strengthens misogyny and protects the male patriarchs, men whom these lower-level men are hurt by but still worship, often unaware of the true structure of power. The godlike men redeem or atone for their own sins by sacrificing these puppet men, using them for labor and ritual offering, blood right sacrifice in wars and other exploitative systems that serve to elevate and cleanse the status of the godlike men. Every patriarch is also beneath another patriarch, all competing for influence and position within the hierarchy. Sometimes the central figure is not a single person but a collective, a group acting as one, hiding behind a unified front. Submissives are part of the system too, and many actively enjoy submitting to someone they can idealize. Within this complex system, there exists a kind of person who perceives the game for what it is. What I call a human person here is someone who knows at their core that both domination and submission are part of the narcissistic game. They feel no synchronicity with the narcissistic world around them because they are not wired for it. Learning about narcissistic abuse finally allows them to understand why people behave in such destructive ways, why nothing ever truly works or changes, and why no real humane transformation happens. It's because what people call awakening is rarely awakening at all. It's just another conversion into a new form of religion or belief system. Collectives and groups do not truly awaken, they only convert to a new belief system, a new narcissistic religion. Trying to awaken them is a waste of your time and energy. They will simply shift into another version of the same system, using new words and new structures, but with the very same aims beneath the surface. Your words should only help individuals connect to what they already know, gently guiding them toward awakening, rather than trying to build a new, integral model of reality that will suddenly click in their individual and collective minds. They can never grasp the true essence because, to do so, people must reconnect to the true essence within themselves. This is impossible while being part of any collective, group, or what we commonly see as relationships, because these are narcissistic connections that prevent genuine, human, organic connection. When you leave the sacrificial world behind, you then discover the organic one. But these two realities are mutually exclusive. Instead, they twist and reinterpret your words through their narcissistic lens, often using them in ways that cause harm. And when that harm comes, you will be blamed for it. If true awakening were to occur, there would be no relationships, groups, collectives, or society as we know them. Because all of these are built and sustained through sacrificial rituals embedded in daily life. These rituals serve as constant cleansing and connection mechanisms for members of the narcissistic world. That's what holds them together, and that's what holds the narcissistic world together. Loyalty to this reality will blind you. Faith will blind you. Hope will blind you. Only detachment will let you see clearly. And that will naturally free you. The task is not to be like others, it is to be fully awake in the dream they call reality, lucid in a world that runs on unconscious cycles. Live inside your own humane bubble, where your space is yours, your breath is yours, your mind is yours. You are already half awake, going the rest of the way will free you.